Hey folks, Zanzibarzy here with another Mindustry Hex Wars matchup, and this is a tough one. I haven't played a lot in the last few weeks, and so I'm a bit rusty. Got some pretty decent opponents. The guy on the current top of the leaderboard right now, Tibu, he's in this match, just above me. But I still remember how to play. You know, how to start. This is my typical start from the past. I don't think that much has changed in the last month or so in the gameplay for Mindustry. And actually, Tibu is late to this match, so there's that. Or at least he hasn't appeared yet, because he showed up to the north of me. But yeah, so we start with the very standard early power, and then daggers, and then drogs. You can do the daggers first, then the power, doesn't really matter. Just make those two as quick as possible, you know? And I spent a lot of time setting up this perfect... Okay, there was Tibu, I just saw him chat, so he's not that late, but anyway. Anyway, I spent a lot of time setting up this perfect graphite production. Not too much time, given that, you know, I still don't even have the lead to finish one of these, so I think it's worth it to set up my bridges properly and everything like that. And I'm going to junction off that player down there. I don't want the daggers to run straight to them. I've been thinking 2 dagger setups is probably better than 1 for this early game, just to make sure that you have no problem securing more spaces fast as you can. Realize the drill's not working. Let's fix that. Okay, all good. Also, you might notice the bridges. So bridges can input from the sides, but only if they are connected to another bridge. So that's why I have those kind of like double bridge setups. I'm not sure if that made any sense to anyone, but if you know, you know. So I've been really into bridges lately. I guess I should maybe mention that. I don't use it a ton here, but bridges, I just kind of realized that they have storage and they can input in all sorts of interesting ways, and so they have some good properties for distributing resources to, you know, towers if you want, to turrets, or for getting around things, of course, their intended purpose. They're a little bit faster than titanium conveyors, so that's quite nice. I think they're a good option, especially in the upcoming V6. I'm not showing any V6 here. It's okay. Some of you may be aware, you know, Mindustry is coming out with a new update, V6. It's going to drastically change the unit system and change a lot of other factors. I've played a fair amount, actually, of V6 player v player. Maybe at some point I'll record some of that. It's kind of, you know, grungy gameplay, like people are just mean to each other, as always, since, you know, we're playing on teams, and there's a lot of unfortunate maps, but yeah, I'll show some of that at some point. I prefer to play solo like this, and that's better, I think, for YouTube videos. I mean, I'm not completely solo, I'll get some teammates eventually, but I think I spent a long time without teammates in this one, actually, so we shall see. Alright, so I'm going for a big graphite setup. I see a lot of people always make these graphite setups without enough drills. It takes a total of 15 of these mech drills to actually even fill up one of those 4 graphite press setups. I think I've mentioned that before, but should still be perfectly efficient. After, you know, it looks clogged for a little while, or it looks like it's not using all of the coal right now, because the drills store up coal as soon as you place them down, so... This is a mistake. I don't have the titanium for this. I tried to go straight to the later game pretty fast. But I was not prepared for it. You can't really go straight for a multi-press like that. So, like I said, I'm a little bit rusty. I'm making a few out of order, you know, mistakes. Eventually I'll get this set up though, and it's nice to have those air blasts all ready to go. They are heavy on power though, that, you know, could be a problem in the future. Just a little foreshadowing there. Power is still at 300, that should be fine. One air blast is 180 power, so just have to keep that in mind. throw down some additional power, but definitely didn't finish it. Okay, so daggers. Don't panic when a bunch of daggers come to your house. It's pretty easy to kill them off with just a handful of arcs like I did there. So just make sure you don't run out of copper and lead. So that's why you never want to run out of copper lead. Always have some with you. Get rid of the fire. The fire's gone. Okay, we're back. No real damage from that. Oh, well, just lost that air blast. That was pretty annoying. But shouldn't lose it again now that the arcs are set up. And I want to grab another hex, so let's go for that. Spend fast as possible. And sorry, Monster, you know, I'm always pretty focused in these games, so I can't really have a conversation if I want to try to win, you know, which I usually going 110%, you know, even though I'm making a few kind of weird choices. I'm pretty happy with this match. Get some silicon online. I think that's okay. That's our second silicon. So we've got big graphite, we got big silicon already going. I mean big, I just advanced. Power is low, that's not great. That's like I was saying, I was still operating on that early power from the, power is fully dead, so this is a huge problem actually. Never want this scenario to come in. But yeah, like I was saying, the air blast takes 180. Try to fix the power as fast as possible. Get some combustion generators on there. I'm still thinking V6 where you can mine coal yourself. And so I'm like, oh crap, what do I do now? So I have to change things up. Let's fly around to try to distract the daggers. That was an unnecessary lance there. I'll try to make power in this square, because honestly I have the resources to do it. Kind of panicked. That combustion generator could have been right next to the copper drill. Would have been better. It's not good. I'm hoping the power comes back on. Power has not come back on. And there we lose the hex. So that's a huge setback. It was just my third hex. Lost it already. Now we got this giant power though, so honestly all I had to do was connect that early power from my initial one that I've been saving up a little bit to this big power that I'd already finished, and I would have been fine. So definitely a slip up that is going to slow me by, I would say, a couple of minutes at least in this early game. I mean, I can replace what was here with better stuff, so that's that's nice at least. But I lost a bunch of drogs. Those are expensive to replace when you have very few. You know, I'm sitting on 1.5k, a little over 1k of copper and lead, so it's not panic mode, but I do have to replace those first. Then replace the big titanium, because that was my main source of titanium. You see I'm at like 462 right now. It's, you know, I'm in the dark. In the red on titanium. And I can't finish that air blast. Probably silicon is the issue. No, it's thorium. Thorium is the issue for that one. Okay, it is finished now though. Let's pick up some more thorium. So, you know, this is Assimilation and Mindustry. Mindustry is all about eco. I've hardly built any daggers for this early game. They can be very powerful, and some matches, sure, you can spam daggers as fast as you want, but generally I go for this eco approach. It's pretty standard. That's what I'm going to go for here as well. We don't have to get that titanium. Once I have one air blast on titanium, you know, titanium's critical, but it's once you've got an air blast of it-ish for the early game, should be no problem. Should be fine. And that hex over there where I've already invested a whole air blast and a multi-press, I still haven't finished, so that's not great. I could have just run over there and capped it with some drogs. But no matter, I'm starting to get a pretty decent amount of other random eco setup and all this. Got a lot of air blasts going, so we jumped straight to a lot of fairly advanced processes. we're just going to continue to add graphite and silicon, since we were low on graphite last I checked. But, I mean, we're only low because I've been placing this stuff constantly. How's power? It's looking a little yellow now. Ah, and it is because my power lines got messed up. I didn't notice that hex getting taken out. Didn't notice I even had that hex completely capped. So, not sure exactly what happened there. Looks like someone was trying to take it over with drogs. Oh, you know what? Someone else was trying to take it with drogs, and then my daggers, after they capped it, my daggers destroyed that, which destroyed everything that I had in the cap, in the hex. Because when you finish capturing something, when you destroy something, even if you had your own buildings in it, those get destroyed along with, you know, whatever buildings your opponent had in there. Just something to keep in mind. We'll add a little bit more titanium, and now we are going to invest in some more daggers, because I'm realizing, okay, there's threats from multiple sides. We need to start worrying about those. Sneak in a little bit of thorium. Basically, I'm building all the different resources all the time. And I see that my daggers are just dying immediately, so that's not the greatest thing, but I still have room to expand. Then the other thing that you always want to make sure that you do have room to expand, of course. And I noticed that it's relatively safe down here in the south. There's a few other players, but I haven't noticed any daggers from them. I'm not really too worried. I can set up some little defenses, just make sure we're all set. Completely comfortable in here. And now I like to whip out my little tiny fortress scheme. A lot of people don't expect fortresses right off the bat, so this can be very powerful. Notice that silicon's not working. We'll double check, we'll fix it. All good. Give it power, you know. Haven't built power in a while, so slightly worried about that at this moment. But I think I've just know. Oh, no, I'm going for more graphite. Okay. And I don't know what we're up to, but that's like the 6th or 7th graphite multi-press I built, so that's kind of nice. Should be really well set up. I should have made plastic earlier, so I'm a little behind in terms of like where I should be in the progression. I should start to be building the big stuff at this point. You know, this game I probably would have lost to some of the other really very good players like Meow, Tree, Pointofix. I think they would have had no problem dispatching me here. It's still a bit rusty, like I said. And T-Boot probably could have given me more trouble if he wasn't so close as well. And about a minute or two late. I don't really know. I haven't played him that many times. But now we were going for plastic, so finally realized I have plenty of economy in order to finance this plastic. Over 2k graphite now. And power, I think we're at 4,000. So yeah, I've been adding plenty of power ever since that early power mishap. There we go, 4,000 power. Power's all set. Units are going to their deaths. I noticed that problem. Check the minimap. That's why I'm checking the minimap constantly, to make sure I'm not losing hexes like that. I think I might have even gotten the core under attack notification. And I know that laser drill on the thorium is messed up. I'll eventually fix it. Now I decided I don't want my units to just die constantly. We'll pull them up for a proper attack. But yeah, I like to leave the units just running all over the place, just to harass everyone who's nearby, especially the, you know, kind of less established players. And I noticed everyone really has electronic defenses. So let's punish that by making some wraiths. Not the best unit. Maybe ghouls would have even been better. But the really nice thing about wraiths is that they kill players. I think I've mentioned that before. And that can be really inconvenient when you have no defense against wraiths and they show up and then they run after you and kill you, and then they can just mess with everything. They destroy power lines pretty easily too, and if you just have electronic defenses, then you could be in some big trouble. Let's go ahead and feed the titanium into the wraith setup. It's not the cleanest wraith setup, but it's pretty compact. And, you know, I have a variety of those. I've got a tinier one, and I've got a much larger one. That would be my mid-sized one that I placed down. How are we looking? 4K graphite. A little bit lower silicon. I think it was 1 or 2K. And I think I've already got the plastic. I could start building the much larger silicon, but I wanted to finish fast. You know, there are several quickly expanding empires around. Definitely some people to keep an eye on. I noticed that core is getting attacked. That's not good. We'll add some more defenses. I could be going for my larger, more powerful arc defenses, but I mean, well, the only thing is they have bigger menders. Oh, and I got a lucky shot off there that cut off the power for all those defenses. So that was really inconvenient for Tibu there. That's devastating, really. So yeah, unlucky, man. Tibu only speaks Spanish, so it's a little bit tricky to carry a conversation with. Alright, but the Trident is ready. Plenty of plastic. Tibu loses a hex, and I would say that means that they're no longer a threat, really. Monkster tips me off about this threat. I checked the minimap, I kind of saw it, but it's just a couple of daggers and titans. That's nothing to worry about. My arc thing rips them to shreds. They did actually take out half that. They cut one of those conveyors for a silicon setup, so they did put that one at half capacity. I don't think I ever fixed that. Not a big deal, though. Minor loss of silicon in the long run. Silly's at 3.7k, so that's good enough to start building all of the big stuff, which I should have been right now. Instead of adding another tiny one, I should have gone straight for a larger silicon setup. But yeah, at least I didn't forget Metaglass. I've forgotten that many a time. But as soon as I place Sound Cyclones, I usually remember, okay, they're using Metaglass, I'm gonna have to fix up my Metaglass. I'm adding some walls. You know, bridges are kind of weak. I know I was saying how great they are earlier, but they are a little bit weak. And that's exposed. I know there's daggers running past, so I would rather have that working, because if it dies, the Cyclones will run out of ammo, the Hex will fall. That is the inconvenience, I guess, of not having electric defenses. They have their pros and their cons. But yeah, now I finally realized, okay, I can build the big stuff. I usually do this right after getting out of the Trident. That's almost always the very first thing I do, but not this time. I don't know. Like I said, a little bit rusty and a little bit slow to expand to my really big stuff. But at this point, now I'm going to build the big Fortress Maker. This type of setup, not this exact one, this one I made myself, but there's another one that like Point to Fix or somebody else has made that's really popular. I see people throwing them down constantly in games. Of this type of, mine's a little bit bigger than the kind of standard one I see, but yeah, it's a very popular choice to go for fortresses since they banned phase walls. I think I talked about that before too. And I realized I can go for the big silicon. And I used to use junctions for this. Now I'm realizing bridges. Bridge is a better choice. Cheaper. It's a little bit time consuming to set down because you just have to connect the bridges all correctly. So that's not how that should be connected. Have to fix this all up. Okay, it's working. And silicon is flowing. Let us get some titanium in. Because now my plan is probably revs. I love to make revs. Revenants. Power's down. Just a little bit down, but down for sure. I don't think I have built my batteries yet. I usually try to remember to make a couple of batteries. And I'm a little bit slow in making sure that I've secured some of the borders. I noticed think it's USSR, that's a funny username, is building forts right up there on the border, stealing away some of the hexes that are just north of me. Okay, yeah, so you can see just in the minimap to the right. Alright, so there it is. He's building some little chunky blue forts. I'm going to go ahead and rally up, and we'll take that out. No problem. There's some salvos. Interesting choice. Generally not thought of as super good. I have a couple salvo forts myself, but I rarely use them. And I've been really into this Revenant setup, just since, honestly, since I came back to Assimilation a couple days ago. I know that my big Rev setup doesn't have an overdriver built in, so I just need to make a new scheme for that. That includes an overdriver in the middle, so the revs produce faster. But this is a nice one. I cut it in half because I don't want to take out all my silicon and titanium. I know that I need more plastic for this to finish off these rev things, and I think at some point I'm probably going to want to make more cyclones. Well, let's go ahead and overdrive it. Big investment here. May as well have it working 50% faster. Really should go through and overdrive a lot of my other stuff, but we'll get there. The big setups that I have already do include overdrivers, so I think I noticed, yeah, there's some cool bombers. Good choice. Although they're not going to do great against my cyclones. There's even some reds. So that's cool, for sure. Not really sure how well that army's going to do against that. Okay, it's just arcs and salvos, and the salvos aren't even firing, so that fort is dead. Okay, there's a couple lancers in there. I'm guessing he's out of thorium though, because the salvos weren't firing, and those would have been a large component of the DPS. So tough. I speak a tiny bit of Spanish, but not enough to figure out what he's saying there. So how come you expanded? I don't know. I missed it. How come you expanded for having these? I don't know what he says. Sorry. It's gone too fast. So don't make troops. Yeah. I only know a handful of words in Spanish, but I know it's saying something about like how come or why do you not know to expand that? Yeah. Alas, okay, power's down. I'm sucking out titanium and silicon from the core, so that needs to be addressed very quickly. Make sure we don't run low on those. At some point I could make phase to phase that overdriver. It's set up. Which core is getting attacked? Can't really tell which core is getting attacked. Oh, except someone... I think I have a few people on my team now. One of them may be setting up an additional core that's getting... Like, I see Metaball over there on the right. That's potentially the one getting attacked. Decide I want to kill off a couple of other random neighbors. Just close things out here. Having trouble figuring out where to put that one. Finally found a spot for it. Power is okay now since we built the big thing, but now I'm going to get those batteries in. 4K, I'm pretty sure that this big fortress factory takes close to 4K, so we'll need more stuff after it's finished. Make sure this hex doesn't get sniped by a handful of daggers, like it can. Looks like Tibu or somebody is luring my units up north, so that's why I just retreated them and then rallied them down here. Revs and Wraiths, they're really easy to lure into someone else's defenses, so that can be quite annoying, really. I believe that Zanzi is not playing serious. Oh, that's what he's saying, yeah. No, it's not that I'm not playing serious, I'm just a little bit rusty, don't worry. He's a little quiet or calm, I think. That's what he says there. That's true. I don't have a ton of units, so that's probably what he's thinking about. Oh, speaking of new videos, yeah, right now. Keep stealing my revs up top. I don't want that. And it's going to take a while, so I deleted the CC up there. The fortresses are taking a while to walk back down here. And there they are. So yeah, T is suppressed. I'm not going after blue. I could go after blue right now. He's got some forts though, and I haven't seen really hardly any units from him, so I'm not too worried about the units there. We'll go ahead and take out some orange, because orange has been making units and harassing me. Actually, I do see that USSR has a big collection up in top left, swirling around. They look like a lot of daggers, but who knows exactly. That army I collected should wipe out orange. Yeah, I don't know. I never know if people are going to actually have defenses, but they didn't really have defenses. And I see that his army's coming down here, so I did notice it. Like I mentioned, I saw it on the top left. And it does look like mostly daggers. Now this hex will be perfectly safe. Should be with that many cyclones. This one already has cyclones, so I'm not worried about that one. Oh yeah, he was the one making revs earlier, so not surprising that he has got some more revs. I see this thorium's here, may as well make use of it. Oh, power died on this corner. But honestly, not that difficult of a defense there. Took out that silicon, that's kind of annoying. It's on fire. But I've got plenty of other opportunities to make silicon right now, so no problemo. Fire really has become, I've been noticing a lot more since, V6. Fire can, I don't know if they changed it much, but it's really deadly, so I've been making more waves. Okay, orange is dead, down in bottom right. I think that was that team, Grasshopper's team. They seem to be doing pretty well. They expanded quite a lot. Is that my lost hex over there? I think it is. So blue did enough to take out that hex. Not really sure. I didn't see enough units really to do that, I thought. But maybe the power got cut. That would kind of make sense. And now I have a large enough army that it's overwhelming. I really need to replace the meta too, because that was my meta hex. Okay, one hex goes down for blue. Now I'm not really sure why I'm making wraiths, but why not, right? I think that I've got the game sealed up, I guess, so can just troll everybody a little bit with a whole bunch of wraiths. Yeah, I see blue's kind of collapsing. The other blue team up in the top right, so they're going to be the next opponent, really. How's power? 9k, all good there. We'll go ahead and fix that silicon for what it's worth. It was tough, especially in the beginning when I lost that hex. Then I started getting nervous. But I'm glad to see that I still have the assimilation chops to keep up here on the AA server. But there are some new good players, for sure. Alright, yeah, blue's collapsing. Other blue team is now the priority, for sure. Okay, I do have teammates. I don't know what's happening to all these guys that I assimilate, but I think they must be just disconnecting afterwards. No worries, I honestly, most of the time prefer to play alone unless I know the person, so. Power, 6k. All set. Production's pretty solid. You know, we still have that rev maker coming from the core, just churning them out all day long. The nice thing about the core productions, no production is wasted. So if like at this point we might have made all the revs, since I don't think they've died for a while, then if you had your setups that are outside, like what do we call those? Semi-automatic, as what I often call them. Well, the problem with those is that they're not overflowing into the core. You can set them up to overflow in the core, and then you get the best of both worlds. And I have noticed players doing that nowadays. But if you don't do that, then you're wasting a bit of invested production. And now I'm gonna double up on revs. Maybe fortresses. Yeah, why not? So like this one, I actually do have outlets for it over bottom left. I've set this up so it's got pretty much all underflows in the right places, overflows in the places where we need to have underflows, and you can take conveyors straight from there. But I've also set it up with excess fortress capacity, so it can just continue to make it, like, you know, there's more fortress factories than what the silicon and graphite produces, actually. And I haven't checked the ratios too well on silicon and graphite. I think that it's decent. Oh yeah, here you notice I never even made, well, I have a few larger silicon production things, but barely any, and we're out of silicon. So that's not great. Just need to close out this game though. We'll do the silicon production first. I called the code red, just I wanted the silly. I don't trust the team to actually make any silicon. So we'll finish it off. OilX needs to finish. Okay, OilX is finished. We picked up another team there. Oh, I'm still Copper 1 also. That's kind of funny. So these couple players are probably like, wait, if you haven't seen me before, you're like, who's this Copper 1 just coming in and bullying these guys at the top of the leaderboard? Yeah, it's me, Zanzibarzy. Set up another fort. That one's really just to prevent blue from trying anything sneaky there. I don't remember if Tibu and USSR, if I was the one that assimilated them or blue got them in the end. I wasn't really paying that much attention. But we're still dealing with shortages. Probably my fault not making more silicon, but I blame the team, you know. I was doing just fine before those guys joined up. Never had a silicon shortage. I did have to delete a few hexes where we were making some silicon. And now I'm like, alright, that's enough army massed up. I like to mass the army close by with the CC, so they're not running all the way across the map, and then now is when I'll make the final blow here. And they're still trying to lure the revs away, revs and raids. So, you know, still being annoying with that. Trying to lure them into another fort, but I can retreat them off, and as long as I'm watching, I don't see them luring again, we're all set. Cool Hand Luke, he's got pretty decent production, but it seems like it's almost all daggers. A couple of fortresses mixed in. And it's not really in large enough numbers to be threatening. Whereas I've got, like, what is that, 60% fortresses, 30% revs, and 10% daggers and wraiths in my composition, so I think that's pretty solid. The revs honestly don't have that great of damage output, but they can't be touched by lancers and arcs, which is the majority of what people use to defend, especially if they're rushing to defend something. People just slap down arcs and lancers, especially versus fortresses, so that's why I always like to mix in a couple air units. And yeah, we're just chewing through blue's base in the background. I mean, really, I I don't think I had that many more units than them. I had better composition, like I said, but I also just used the CC, which they didn't, so it could have been more threatening. I'm pretty well defended since I've been attacked all game, but they could have CC'd down in the south, and there we have it, GG. And their empire collapsed quite fast, honestly. Alright, so good stuff, good stuff. Happy to be back. Glad to play you guys. See you guys again in the next time.